I'm not trying to hide. I'm only trying to remind everybody that might see this, that we should be wearing masks when we're with people. But here, I'm in my house, and our guest is in her house, and so she doesn't need a mask right now. But I do feel very serious about that. Be sure you keep your mask in your pocket, because that's going to be safer for us. I'm excited today. I think that you're going to be surprised and excited. We have a great guest, and we're going to meet her today if you haven't already. We're meeting Jessica Robinson. She's a professional storyteller. She's a teacher, and she is the one person that founded and really made something serious out of Better Said Than Done, which is I'll let her tell you what it is. And and also, she's a mom. That's a very important thing these days when we have our women. We don't often on this have a chance to talk to the women who are mothers. So here we are, Jessica Robinson.
Hi, Ellouise.
Hi, how are you? I'm very happy that you're here today. And so we talked the other day. What's on your mind first thing this morning? Doesn't have to be anything that's been talked about.
Oh, well, I'm hoping that my kids are quiet for the next half hour.
Are we in nearby? Are we with them?
We are always nearby these days.
Yes,
they are never far from mommy.
Are they going to watch you do this?
No, they're not that nearby. Oh. The door is locked.
Okay, that's wonderful. They have been. I've seen it before and heard you talk about it, that they love you and they love the storytelling. These children have seen storytelling with mom nearby since they were infants. Of course they love it, you know. Do you think that has something to do with it?
Well, I think they have a love-hate relationship with it because mommy has dragged them to a lot of storytelling. So sometimes they're like, oh, not another storytelling show. So
right. Okay. We can all understand that. Husbands understand that. Friends understand that. Okay, there are many things that we've had a conversation, and I've had a lot of time to think. I was so happy to call you and that you had time to come and join us because there's a lot of talking that needs to be done about the storytelling since we're missing it. And since with things like Better Said Than Done, you have created situations where storytellers who can't work right now, we're all at home. You know, we're not on big stages, we're all at home. That this is really important. So would you just say a few words about Better Said Than Done, how you feel it, and what made you decide to do it?
So we took our shows online in April. We just kind of canceled our late March show because I didn't know what to do yet. And then starting in April, we started doing 3 shows a month for, I don't know, the whole summer. And then by the end of the summer, I was exhausted. So we switched to 2 shows a month. So we're now doing 2 shows a month. On our what would be our normal show day. So we were scheduled to start a new show in DC starting in April, and then that never happened. But we are keeping the dates of our show. So our live show would normally be the 4th Saturday of the month and the 2nd Thursday of the month. So those are our 2 now on Zoom virtual show dates. And then I also added in a story swap. So we're doing a story swap once a month, which is a lot less work because it's essentially an open mic. I just kind of turn Zoom on and whoever wants to tell a story can tell a story. So.
Mm-hmm. What are you saying? Maybe there's somebody there that doesn't quite get it. When you mean live, are you not recording the stories before they come to you, or are you recording them with you, or y'all are not together? I know that.
So right. No, that's a great question. So live, we say live online so that it helps people. And we also say streaming live. So we are, when showtime starts at 8 p.m., there's 7 storytellers in a Zoom room performing their stories live in front of their computer. And we do record it because we have had so many. We didn't record it initially, but we have started recording it and just sending the recording to everyone who buys a ticket, because so many people miss the beginning, or they miss the show, or they have power outages, or they just forget. So if you buy a ticket, you can also watch the recording of the show, but the event itself is streaming live in real time.
So you can watch that as many times as you want to after it.
I assume everyone watches all of my shows like 40 times. So yeah.
Right. But people, if you don't say that out loud, they don't really know. So what a big surprise. I recently went down to the Tennessee storytelling thing on one of those tickets, and didn't realize at first that I could listen to whoever I wanted to as long as I wanted to for another week. It was a great gift.
Yeah. And that's been the true learning curve. I mean, I've been producing shows for over 9 years now. But the amount of information that I have to put on a show page now compared to, last time it was just show up at 8 p.m. at the old Shebeen.
Yes.
And now I have to put, we're intended for a mature audience, and we have 7 storytellers, and they're going to be telling for 10 minutes each. And here's the lineup, and it's live on Zoom. So you have to log in and you have to register in advance. And if you miss it, here's the record. It's just, there's so many. Our show page information it's like a novel now. Whereas before it was literally just show up at a bar and enjoy yourself. So,
well, that's your view of it. I've told for you those things, and you really help all storytellers. I mean, the information that you're giving out now under Zoom, I had never done Zoom. And then all of a sudden I was in a class, and then to go back, I met Zoom, and then you showed up, it was Zoom. But there's something that's so valuable. If you're a beginner storyteller, that's one thing. And if you're an old seasoned slab, that it helps, doesn't it? Do you see people really changing in the way they do things because they're working with you on better said than done?
I think more so in the beginning. So there was a lot of coaching that I did in the beginning. A lot of people never used Zoom before. So you said you saw my videos on how to create good looking Zoom videos. So I did that just to help, all these people who were showing up online and not knowing where to look and not knowing how to light themselves and that kind of thing. And then, hopefully I give a lot of good advice about how to be a performer on Zoom. But I think we're all, a lot of people have gotten used to it by now because there's been a lot of storytelling going on for a while now on Zoom. And I think that we're all also still learning. I watch my performances after I'm done, and I thought I did a good performance, and then I'm catching things.
Right.
You know me.
Yeah.
I do this a lot.
I know how that is. Yeah.
And it doesn't translate as well when the screen is this big as opposed to on stage. So I'm always trying to not move around so much. That's my learning curve.
That's your goal. Don't get up out of the chair. Well, the thing about it is that I had a thought that might have been important, but now that it's slipping away, it may not be important. I think there's so much going on by having this. And one of the things I hope and would ask you now to talk about for a moment, you did something really unusual and really important in my mind last year with the all-female, all-women's festival that you rigged up and everything. I've never been so disappointed in my life as that I've been invited and I couldn't come because my doctor had the nerve to say you're too old and you can't go down there and do that. You're vulnerable. So, that you've done a wonderful thing with that. Tell me how you thought of it and how you feel about it.
I truly believe in the power of storytelling. Like I'm a true believer. And I also believe that there's a lot of people who are underrepresented in the realm of storytelling. So, my thought in forming the Women's Storytelling Festival was to give women's voices a place, where it's just sort of trying to equalize, trying to correct an inequality where women storytellers are considered. And unfortunately, it was our first year, and it was in March of 2020, and the timing was pretty bad. So I'm glad that we were able to do it right before things got really bad. But I wish I wish we had a little bit more time to ramp up, for our first event before the world shut.
I thought it was great. It was just missing me, but I thought because I had wanted to do it so bad, but it was a wonderful step, because I think anything that can be done like that to assist women or to give them more confidence in what they're doing, because I don't believe that that's changed 100%. And so it was wonderful. I saw people while I was watching from home, and they were just good. They were good. And that makes you feel really, really wonderful when that's happening. So thank you. Thank you. What else do you have in mind for this year?
For just going forward?
Yeah, you're doing a lot with Better Said Than Done. Why don't we finish with them and then talk about something else? But, what's going through your head that you'd like to continue?
Well, I think that we're going to be virtual for a while. I don't know how long. I don't think anyone in America knows how long things will be shut down, but certainly, for example, we're planning for the Women's Storytelling Festival in March of 2021, and we're not having a live audience. That's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's good to know that in advance. Yes. So it makes planning a little bit easier. But I haven't really started to think about April yet. So we'll see. I have a feeling we'll probably be virtual for longer, but fingers crossed. But and then really I'm just planning out the rest of the year. Our November shows are booked. We have one December show, December 12th, and it's our end of year party. It's a storytelling show and recipe exchange. So all the storytellers in the show are invited to submit a recipe, and then I'm going to ask the audience if they want to submit a recipe as they buy tickets. And then at the show, we'll give everyone a PDF of all the recipes people sent in.
Oh, nice. Because one of the things, as we're all at home now, is there's more cooking happening.
Eating.
More eating. More cooking, but I sometimes feel more challenged with my cooking because I've got time to try to play around with it. I think that's going to be a wonderful thing, that it may not be what you want this year, in other words, because there'll be certain restrictions with the Zoom and everything. I don't know what will happen, but it's just going to grow, that it's going to grow even better. And that's going to mean a lot to everybody, to have that. Well, I'm just trying to think of another question. What do you want to do yourself?
When I grow up?
Well, if you have to wait that long.
Yeah, 20 or 30 years from now, hopefully.
Yeah.
The good thing about everything being virtual right now is I have gotten to work with, I've always gotten to work with amazing storytellers like you. We have a lot of this area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area has so much talent. There's so many great storytellers, and I'm appreciative. Over the last 9.5 years, I've had great experiences. But going virtual means I've gotten to work with people from California and people, from all across the country. I don't think I've had anyone from another country on my show, but I've had a great time working with all these storytellers on my show. And then I've also gone on some shows, out of California, out of Chicago, out of, different areas of the country. And I was in the National Storytelling Network conference over the summer, the virtual conference, which was something, I probably wouldn't have done if I was actually going to the physical conference. So it was,
right.
It's been good for my career as a storyteller, and it's been good for me as a story listener, getting to really see so many storytellers that I wouldn't have heard of because they're coming to me from all over and they're not that well known, or I wouldn't have gotten to work with because they're very well known. and wouldn't normally be doing the Better Said Than Done show. So.
Oh, I think that's been very. I've watched it and seen what you were doing and doing terrific. Because it's a building thing, and it brings things into this area when you bring in some of the big dogs. When you're bringing in people into this area that we don't ordinarily have in this area, and so that's certainly a gift for the community, for people that are interested in storytelling, and for other storytellers. It's nothing like listening to more. And you've done a great job on that. Jessica, it's so funny. We met, was it 10 years ago?
At least, yeah.
At least, and I never remember so well. I had known you we were both performing, but I knew you when you started putting this on. And it was in the top of restaurant upstairs. That was really, really fun, and how you've scored this out, and you're great at managing these things. It's just, was that a difficult learning to decide how you were going to put it together?
Well, in some ways, the venue for people producing a show, I think, is the hardest thing. So we've been really lucky. Jam and Java has had us at their venue several times, and we were at Epicure Cafe for a while. And our latest home has been Old Shabine before everything shut down.
Closed up, yeah.
And I worry about all of those venues, and I hope that they're all there when things open up again. And but I think that is much of what drove where I ended up, is just, there are some places that you have to pay them hundreds of dollars for the privilege of putting on a show there. So those were just sort of, that helped me make the decision of where we performed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds as far as our physical growth. So I will say, in that way, Zoom is easier. Being online is easier because anyone can get an account, for a pretty low cost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I recently had some family, not my family. I've been invited to visit some family events and other things. And you see that the use of that technology is spreading. And I have, at least once a month, I have part of my family's in California, parts in Colorado, parts here. They're all over. But the only time I can see them all at once together is if we do a Zooming. So we have on the deck or here, there, everywhere, and they're 1,000 miles away or 3,000 miles away. I think that is a gift, an incredible gift. Do you use that at all with your family?
A little bit. But my daughter is in second grade, and she is on her computer all day. Way more screen time than a 7-year-old should be having. My son, we're a Unitarian, so we do RE, is religious exploration is what it's called, on Sundays, and he enjoys seeing other kids his age, but that's once a week. So we're not doing a lot with family. I mean, most of my family is local, so we've seen them in outdoor, socially distant settings. Right. And we tried to do a Zoom call once with some of my family in New Jersey, and just getting the kids to stay in front of the computer for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Well, and you have younger children. I don't have younger children. But I have older children. And so they're happy, to talk to each other and whatever. But I am just really interested in watching the technology and how, that you're having an organization that's using it, but I'm seeing people who are also getting the handle on it so that they can use it independently.
We've had some, girlfriend meetups, wine and Zoom kind of thing. So we've done some of that. But I do think part of the problem, or I think that there's a lot of people who are on their computers all day and they're kind of exhausted by the time. Like, that's one of the reasons with the shows, we make them a webinar versus a meeting. I don't know if you know the difference, but in a meeting, you can see everybody. And in a webinar, the audience is not seen. And I made that choice at the beginning because I know I don't want to be, if I'm not performing or, on camera on purpose, I don't want anyone to see me. I want to be in my pajamas. I want to be drinking and eating and just not care.
Yes, indeed. We are not standing up.
Yes.
So I've loved that part of it, the casual way of working with clothing, or whatever, how you make yourself happy, that is a plus. That's definitely a plus. Now, I think we're going to take a little break here and we'll be right back. So don't go away, you people, because there'll be some things you're going to want to know. Thank you.
Here are AARP's top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. Form a caregiving team. Inventory essential supplies and medications. Make a plan to stay connected. Maintain self-care and follow CDC guidelines. Learn more on our website.
Jessica, now we have a chance to talk about something that's of the whole day. When did you first have to move home with your kids because of the horror that was going on outside? Was it February or March?
It was March. It was actually the Ides of March, which is easy to remember. I mean, technically it was the 16th, but that was the day that the schools announced we're not going back anytime soon. And in Virginia, they did talk about possibly returning, seeing what was going to happen, but let's have spring break first and then we'll figure it out. And then sometime in April, they decided it would be entirely virtual for the rest of the year. So
how did that feel to you when you got that information? Did you get just a little slip of paper that says this is what's going to happen?
We got lots of emails and texts. In fact, I'm so happy it's finally calmed down. But I mean, for a while there were 3 or 4 emails and texts every day because they were trying to accommodate everyone, and they just were constantly changing the plan and trying to really make everyone happy, which doesn't work very well. I mean, here's the thing. I would rather not be home all day with my kids, but I would like to keep everyone safe. So my priority is to not have my kids or myself get sick.
Right. It's a big challenge, isn't it? Sometimes I lay down in the bed and think, am I okay for today? That it's important to take your temperature. It's important to do all of those things. And you're taking that on with your kids. How has it worked? You've been checking their temperature or, what?
We don't go anywhere. We order our groceries. The only time they see grandma and grandpa sometimes, but it's always outside, and we wear masks the whole time. So we're really just not seeing anyone. I probably go out more than anyone else because occasionally I've had to go and do something, and then I wear my mask. So, we've been lucky. And in fact, I've joked, my family's always making fun of me because for the last 7 years, I've been sick most of the time every year because kids are little germ fests. And I haven't been sick in a year. I haven't caught anything.
They're curing you. Yes, whatever it is, they're curing you. Yeah.
So and my kids are 7 and almost 5, as he keeps pointing out. So they're, they got used to wearing the mask. They have cute masks. They've got Captain America and Marvel and dinosaur masks. So they're good about it. And in fact, we're the weird family that walks around wearing masks in our neighborhood, and most people don't for whatever reason. And so we're the ones that everyone kind of gives us funny looks. But I just feel it's easier to just make it a rule if you're going anywhere, put your mask on. So
that's almost such a surprise and a disappointment when adults are not wearing their masks and they're not giving masks over to the kids. I saw a group coming out of a school last week. I had gone up to get something, and the children all had masks on. And I thought, well, I haven't gone out that much. And so it was interesting to see that the kids were wearing the masks.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I don't want to be judgmental, but I've definitely seen, I've definitely seen groups of young people, not just families hanging out together, but big groups of people hanging out on the playground or hanging out in someone's front yard, and everyone's hanging out and playing together and not wearing a mask, and it gives me anxiety. So I don't understand it.
I've heard that from some of my friends who have college age grandchildren, and that they went back to college and they were quite friendly with their friends, and so that they were in the hospital, and that the college put up a high school. And we agree, there's hardly any reason why you can count on the fact that young people, are not going to stay apart.
Yeah.
I don't believe they will.
And I think, and for us too, part of the reason we wear masks whenever we go out is good modeling. We're modeling for our kids, but our kids don't have a problem with it. They're, and I think it's because they're young. I mean, they're 7 and younger. And because we've just made it a habit. So
I see what you put on the Facebook, some of the comments of the kids, which is, they're so cute and they're so smart, but are they happier with each other?
Yes and no. I mean, I my daughter was not very social before. So she, for example, doesn't miss going back to school. My son is very social. And even he hasn't seen other kids in person since March. And, even still, almost every day he talks about his best friends, from daycare. So they only have each other right now for the most part. And I think because of that, they play together a lot, but they also fight a lot. So I think they're closer, and I think this will be sort of a life-changing experience in their relationship.
Yeah. Somehow I don't know how, I've seen it in my family, and I've seen that that's true, and they all do it their own different way, I just think it's wonderful to hear you talking about what you're doing, and yet you're still able to continue your job, the work that you're doing with storytelling and these things. And I think that's one of the most important things, is for us, for you as the mom. The moms have to stay together in themselves doing what they wanted, And I can't thank you enough for coming here and letting us learn about this, to hear what's happening. I think it sounds wonderful. It sounds scary to me. Does it ever sound scary to you?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. Because it's your children. I worry. I'm an old woman, and I worry every day about myself, because it is a tricky business. But I thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for giving me an excuse to go out.
Yeah, good. Downstairs. Listen, we'll see you again soon, I hope. Take care. Everybody, remember, now we're leaving our homes, so you must put your masks back on if you're going outside. I probably will go and watch old movies myself, but if you want to go outside, you certainly can. But wear your mask. Bye.